hurricaneEta threatens to bring flooding, storm surge. Managua, Nicaragua, Nicaragua. New Hurricane Eta quickly gained force Monday as it headed for Central America, on the verge of becoming a major hurricane, threatening massive flooding and landslides across a vulnerable region. Eta had maximum sustained winds of 110 mph and was located about 115 miles east of the Nicaragua-Honduras border. According to the National Hurricane Center, it was moving west at 9 mph. It said the storm could strengthen further and become a major hurricane before running ashore by early Tuesday, likely in Nicaragua, where it could bring rains measured in feet rather than inches. Forecasters said central and northern Nicaragua into much of Honduras could get 15 to 25 inches of rain, with 35 inches in isolated area. Heavy rains also were likely in eastern Guatemala, southern Belize, and Jamaica. Storm surge up to 15 feet above the normal tides was possible for the coast of Nicaragua. The Hurricane Center also warned of life-threatening flash flooding and landslides in areas with higher terrain. Nicaragua's Navy educated the mosquito cave of about 1,650 residents along the coast on Sunday and prohibited launching any boats along the stretch of coastline expected to receive ETA. Offshore residents were taken to shelter in Bilwi, also known as Puerto Cabezas, the primary city of the Northern Caribbean Autonomous Region that is home to some 66,000 people, according to Guillermo Congressny, director of the Nicaragua's National Emergency Management Agency. Northeastern Nicaragua is sparsely populated, home to small coastal village and large nature reserve. Consulates said that 88 tons of rice, oil, corn, and other food basics had been to the area. The Rio Coco, which makes up part of the border with Honduras, is home to many indigenous communities. It is known to overwhelm its banks in heavy tropical rains. Traffic filled the streets of Bilwi on Monday morning as residents scrambled to stock up before ETA's arrival. Long lines snaked away from cash machine. "We are in a race against time," said Limberth Bacado, a local. "We're waiting in line at a hardware store. We need to reinforce our houses to dampen the impact of the wind a little." Heavy black plastic, garbage bags, nails, and a rope were in high demand. The Navy carried families in open boats, mostly women and children, with the processions they could carry from outer islands to Bilwi and a low gray sky. Nicaragua's government has also placed northern province on alert as Eta is expected to move through the country's northern mountains after coming ashore. Eta is expected pass through Central America while dumping prodigious amounts of rain was already reaching. References to Hurricane Mitch, the 1998 storm that dumped an estimated 35 inches of rain during a slow trek across the region. A National Hurricane Center archive report says more than 9,000 people died in Mitch, one of the deadliest Atlantic storms in the history. At one point, its winds reached nearly 180 mph, though it weakened while meandering off the Honduras coast before making landfall on October 29, 1998. In Honduras, much of the country was placed on red alert for Eta eventual passage through the country. It had been raining since Sunday in some areas. Julissa Mercado, spokeswoman for the National Emergency Management Agency, said firefighters had started evacuating areas most at risk, and mandatory evacuations would be ordered soon. Eta nearly tripled in strength in just 24 hours, rapidly intensifying from a 40 mph storm Sunday morning to a 110 mph hurricane on the threshold of becoming a major hurricane Monday morning. Forecasters warned that it could bring life-threatening storm surge, catastrophic winds, flash flooding, and landslides when it makes landfall. Eta is now the 8th Atlantic storm this season to hit the meteorologists' definition for rapid intensification. Over the past couple decades, meteorologists have been increasingly worried about storms that just blow up in strength like Eta. They create an official threshold for this dangerous powering up. A storm gaining 35 mph in wind speed in just 24 hours. Early this year, Hannah, Laura, Sally, Teddy, Gamma, Delta, and Zeta all rapidly intensified. An 8th storm, Marco, just missed the mark. Laura and Delta tied a set record for rapid intensification. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration climate and hurricane scientist Jim Cousin studied the effect and found the storms now are more likely to rapidly intensify than they did in the 1980s. And a lot of that has to do with human-caused climate change. Eta is a 28th named Atlantic storm this season, tying the 2005 record for named storms. However, this is the first time the Greek letter Eta is being used as a storm name, because after the 2005 season ended, meteorologists went back and determined there had been a storm that should have gotten a name but didn't. Hurricane season still has a month to go, ending November 30. And in 2005, Zeta formed toward the end of December. Brazil. The European Union is expected to approve sanctions this week against the second list of Belarus, Belarus officials over an August 9 election the West says were rigged, including President Alexander Lukashenko, 3 EU diplomats said on Monday. Belarusian President Lukashenko attended a meeting in Minsk. Lukashenko, who has been in power for 26 years, was not on the EU's original list of 40 individuals targeted for travel bans and asset freezes. But the EU says his refusal to consider new election as a way out of the crisis left him with no choice. EU ambassadors will be given a second sanctions list of 15 officials, including Lukashenko, at the meeting on Wednesday, and barring objections by any member states by close of business on Friday. The plan will be adopted. Total fluke, giant wear tail saved metro train from crashing to the ground. A giant sculpture of a whale tail saved a Dutch metro train and its operator after the train broke through stop barriers at the end of an elevated track just past midnight Monday. The Guardian reports, provided by National Post, a photo taken in Spikanes on November 2nd, 2020, shows a metro train that shot through a sharp stop block at the Arka metro station. There were no passengers aboard, and the conductor managed to free himself and escaped to safety. With the front car hanging 10 meters above the ground at 12:30 a.m., the train ran through the holding track at the Arka metro station in the city of Spikanes, just outside Rotterdam. The plastic whale sculpture caught the train and prevented it from crashing onto the ground. The accident tore up the undercarriage of the train car and shattered the front windows. The metro went off the rails and it landed on a monument called Saved by the Whale's Tail. So that literally happened. Carly Gorter of the Regional Safety Authority told AFP. Because of the whale's tail, the driver actually was saved. That's incredible. Artisan Marutun Sturgis installed the work of art in 2002, which features two 10 meters polyester whale tail protruding from the water. Sturgis told the Guardian that he was surprised that the sculpture was able to prevent a disastrous crash. I'm amazed that it's so strong. When plastic has stood for 20 years, you don't expect it to hold up a metro train, he said. I could never have imagined it that way, but it saved the operator's life. The damage is in afterthoughts. The Vatican has sought to clarify Pope Francis' comment on support of same-sex civil unions, saying they were taken out of context. Accident. And they do not signal a change in doctrine. Pope Francis waves to pilgrims gathered in St. Peter's Square during his Sunday Angelus prayer on October 25th, 2020 at the Vatican. In a letter sent on October 30 from the Vatican Secretary of State to papal representatives around the world, the Vatican said that two comments made by Pope Francis in the film Francisco by Russian-born director Vatican were taken out of context. The Vatican's letter was first published on the Facebook page of the Vatican Nuncio to Mexico, Archbishop Franco Coppola on Sunday. A senior Vatican official has confirmed the latest eccentricity to CNN. More than a year ago, during an interview, Pope Francis answered two different questions at two different times that in the aforementioned documentary were edited and published as a single answer without the proper contextualization, which has led to confusion. The letter says, regarding the Pope's comment in the film that what we need is a civil union law, the Vatican's clarification says that the Pope was speaking about his opposition to a same-sex marriage law in Argentina 10 years ago, when the Pope was Archbishop of Buenos Aires. In that context, the Vatican's later claims the Pope had spoken about the rights of those people to have certain legal protection, but not about same-sex marriage. It is clear that Pope Francis was referring to a certain provisions made by states, and certainly not to the doctrine of the Church, which he has reaffirmed numerous times over the years. The letter explains. In the film, the Pope also says homosexual has a right to be a part of the family. They are children of God and have a right to a family, which was interpreted by some to mean that the Pope was in favor of same-sex couples forming families. The letter states that the Pope was speaking about the fact that a son or daughter with a homosexual orientation should never be discriminated against without the family. Following the film's premiere in Rome on October 21st, Alfinsky told the Associated Press that he had personally interviewed the Pope for his documentary. However, journalists later discovered that the footage of the Pope interview was taken from a 2019 Mexico Televisa interview. The Pope's comments on civil unions were not aired in the initial television interview. The film also explores the Pope's work and views in other issues, including climate change, migration, and economic equality, according to the film's website. Francis has suggested in past interviews that he is not against the civil union. Francis' comments differ from his predecessors, Benedict XVI, who made the news when he labeled homosexuality an intrinsic moral evil. Two children rescued days of the deadly Turkish earthquake. Reza pulled two children from the rubble in a town in Turkey on Monday, delivering hope nearly 3 days after a major earthquake hit the Aegean, killing 93 people and ruining dozens of buildings. Elif the three held the some of her rescuers after she was found in the rubble of a building collapsed by an earthquake in Turkey. Luna, Turkey's rescuers are hopeful of identifying another earthquake survivor. 3-year-old Elif Perinçek was rescued 65 hours after 7.0 magnitude quake left a trail of destruction in western Turkey and eastern Greece on Friday. Turkey's AFAD emergency authority said. Under coast racing against time, rescue workers were pressing ahead with their desperate search for survivors more than 72 hours after disaster struck. Local media showed a video of the little girl wrapped up in a foil blanket, quickly taken to safety in the coastal town of Belarus, the hardest hit by the disaster, as rescue workers broke into applause. Hours later, Turkish state television showed image of the girl, her right eye closed by a purple blouse, waving to the camera of her hospital bed. A doll resting on her chest. Manama Genik, a fireman who found and saved Elif, told AFP he thought the toddler was dead when he saw her lying on her back, covered by a white dust. I asked for a body bag. I wanted to wipe the dust from her face and pull out my hand towards her, and then suddenly she grabbed my son, he recalled. Ruin Ascalon, the quake has destroyed dozens of buildings, leaving many homeless. We froze. We were crying with joy. Salik said we forgot everything in that moment. A photo of Elif holding Sav's hand went viral in Turkey. The fireman said she did not let go until she was taken to a tent for safety nearby. Elif was the 106th person pulled out alive from collapsed building in Belarus and surrounding towns and cities in western Turkey. Another fireman, Mortimer Gilasin, said he thought the toddler was dead. Then suddenly she grabbed my son. Her mother and 3 siblings were pulled out on Saturday night, although her rescued brother later died, the TRT state broadcaster said. Rising Cho, AFAD also reported the rescue of 14-year-old Idil Serene in Belarus 58 hours after the quake hit, but the Serene family's joy was brief as the lifeless body of Idil's sister, Epic, was found, the Hurricane newspaper reported. Lawrence submitted a map showing the epicenter of the magnitude 7 quake near the Turkish coast and the Greek island of Samos. I can't hear any sound from my sister. She's dead. Idil told rescuers as she was being pulled out, hurricaneEta said. Turkey's toll from the quake is continuing to rise, with AFAD reporting 91 dead. Nearly 1,000 people were injured and more than 150 were still in hospital. Turkish rescuers are hopeful of identifying another earthquake survivor. Turkish Health Ministry Fahrettin Kokas tweeted that 10 of the wounded were in intensive care, including 3 in a critical condition. 2 teenagers were also killed on their way home from school on the Greek island of Samos, near the epicenter of the quake. Can anyone help me? Raising Against the time, rescue workers were pressing ahead with their desperate search for survivors in western Turkey more than 72 hours after the disaster struck. "Can anyone hear me?" one rescue worker cried through a megaphone down into the rubble. "If you can, hit something or scream," he called as a drone hovered overhead, scanning the rubble. Thousands of residents, including those with destroyed homes, spent a third night outside in tents in Belarus and in nearby Bonazova, many fearing the risk of aftershocks. Turkish authorities registered 1,286 repeat tremors by Monday afternoon, including 43 of the magnitude 4, complicating the rescuers' works and raising the threat of further damage. Launching an investigation into why 58 buildings were either heavily damaged or completely destroyed. Turkey's police detained 9 people, including constructors, in connection with the quake, state news agency said. Thanks.